There are several ways to blur, redact, and cover sensitive information with Preview on Mac for free. Let's go through some typical things you may want to blur out. If you're selling an item or posting something on social media, you may want to cover sensitive information like your car license plate. First, you need to select the markup option at the top to see the Editing Options toolbar. Select Shapes and choose the shape that will work best to cover your item. I will use the rectangle here. The shape's fill and border will be the same as what was used last time, but you can easily change them. I'm going to position it over my license plate and modify its shape. To change the shape's border, select the border option. It's hard to tell whether I have a wide border or no border selected, but in most cases you probably won't want a border. I'm going to change the fill though to black to match the rest of the car. That looks pretty good. Another way to cover sensitive information is to search online for a blur pattern and then use it to cover information in your images. I'm going to copy the blur pattern with Command+C, then go to my vehicle and paste it on top with Command+V. Then resize it to cover my license plate. The pasted image size stays proportional to the original, so you may need to tweak the cutout to cover what you want exactly, rather than how before I was able to resize the color shape precisely. What about covering sensitive and classified information? Can we do that in Preview? I have two types of files here, an image on the left and a PDF on the right. The image of the declassified top secret document looks like a mess. I can easily clean it up and cover what I want with a shape. To indicate that I am covering something, I like to use black or gray colored shapes. Once you have one shape, you can select and copy it and then paste it to speed up the process. With the shapes, it is easy to resize them. To hide and clean up my image, I prefer to use light colors, so I will change my shape to white. If the color doesn't exactly match the background, go to Fill, then select the Show Colors. Then use the color picker to match your shape's color exactly to the background. Final touch is making a copy and covering the top of my image. This looks so much better. Now everything up to this point is covering and blurring information in a non-secure way. Drawing a shape does not remove the underlying object. If you want to actually send an image or document to someone and protect some of its information, you have to do that with a PDF. Open a PDF file with Preview. To access the redaction option, select Markup at the top. The third option from the left is a black square that indicates redaction. I get a message saying that the redacted content will be permanently removed once the document is closed. Actually, once the document is closed and you close out from Preview. I'm going to click OK. Then you can select the areas you want to redact. You get a black shape with an X over them. If you hover over the black areas, you will still see the current text and image underneath, and you can still readjust and reposition them. If you want to remove any of the redacted areas, hover over it until you see the blue endpoints, then click Delete. If you can't select something, like I couldn't select this thin shape for redaction, first zoom in on the document, then try selecting and deleting it. To make the redaction permanent, you need to close out of the file and quit Preview. Now when I reopen the document, I can no longer see or remove the redacted areas. They are permanently deleted and the document is safe for sharing. If you would like to securely cover sensitive information in an image, you need to do a bit of a workaround. First, export the image as a PDF. Then open the file and redact the sections you want to hide as you would in the image. Then close everything and quit preview. Open the redacted file and now export it back as an image. The redacted sections show up as black areas with an X over them and the image is safe for sharing. Now I'm going to show you yet another neat way of blurring things in preview. I like this effect the most as it looks most professional. I have a letter with a fake address here and I would like to blur it for privacy. First, select the area that you want to blur. Press Command+C to copy, then go to File, New from Clipboard. You get your selection copied to a new canvas. Now where the trick comes is going to Tools, then Adjust Size. I prefer using percentages because it's easiest for me to understand. So I will choose to keep everything proportional and reduce the width and height to 10% of the original size. Once I do that, the copied selection becomes super tiny. To view it, zoom in. Then select it all with Command+A and copy with Command+C. Now I will go back to my original file and paste it there with Command+V. You may not even notice where it is because it is super small. The pasted item should appear somewhere near the center. I will grab it, move it over the original area, and resize it to the original size. And voila! That blur looks perfect. I like how the blurred area retains the original size and shape underneath. Let's do another one with a fake college financial aid letter. I will select the financials and use the New from Clipboard option. Then I will resize it to 10% again. If the blur is too much, use a higher percentage. Maybe 25% would be better in this case. I will do the same with the rest of the document. This is a neat trick and the blur looks very professional. What about blurring faces in photos? I have a family photo here where I want to blur the faces of the children. If I start selecting, the default selection is a rectangle. So if I want an oval, I have to go to Markup and select the elliptical selection, then select the face. I will copy it with Command+C and use the shortcut for New from Clipboard, which is Command+N. Then I will reduce its size and paste it back over my original image. Now I will reposition and resize it to the original size. If the area you want to blur is not geometrically proportional, use the lasso selection. You can also use a shape to cover an individual's eyes to protect privacy, but this method looks more crude. Now let's use all the different ways to blur and cover sensitive information on a screenshot of Outlook inbox. Once I activate the markup toolbar, I will use shapes to cover the email addresses. I use this option a lot when I record my videos and don't want to draw attention to an area. I change the shape's color to that of the background so you can't even see there was anything there in the first place. Now I will use the downloaded blurred pattern and paste it over a private email I received. Again, this option may not fit the area exactly, so you may need to tweak what size of the blurred pattern you copy first. Finally, I will use my favorite option since I learned about it. By copying the selection to New Clipboard, resizing it, and bringing it back. Also, I wanted to show you how you can get back to your original image if you ever wanted to do that. Once you reopen your image, go to Edit, Revert to, Browse all versions. Select from the versions available. Thanks so much for watching.